How's it going, everybody? My name is Nate Blair, and I will be talking about a map I made for CSGO that is in the early Greybox stage right now. So what I'll primarily be focusing on for this playtest is the aesthetic for when the level is finished and the timings for the critical timings for choke points and being on site for both sides. So let's just jump into the level. I'm going to restart, and then we'll run around as both terrorists and counter-terrorists to get an idea of what the flow of the map looks like. So right now we're starting as counter-terrorists, and we'll run to A site first. So you take this corridor, and there will be a ladder there in order to get onto the rafters. But you see, this is the first choke point, and you see that we arrive at about 8 seconds, or we can be through the choke point in about 12 seconds. On the A site, this is where the bomb will be planted, and there's a few different choices for cover here. So one thing to note is for the cover, some of these will be modified later, and the units will be perfected. So most of these are supposed to be waist high, where you can shoot over them and also jump on top of them, like crouch jump on top of them. The terrorists attacking from this direction will have to go through this choke point, but they have a couple options if they decide to smoke the corridor. They can move to the right towards mid, or they can move to the left towards these boxes for cover and trying to flank around the side of A. The overall idea for this level is that this is a pier. So this massive gray box here is supposed to be a crane, which is used for offloading the boxes and crates into kind of the mid-central area, and they're taken off of the ships here on the other side of the bomb site. One thing to note is that there are no walls on this side, and that this box has like a gap between it. That's because this will eventually be a ship, and this will be water. So the player can actually jump into the water and die, so there's intentionally no wall here. There is also this little corridor which the counter-terrorists can see down, and this is a crossover for the terrorists if they're going to be coming to Site A. So potentially they could be sniped at from this position, but it's a pretty small angle, so you'd have to. It's mostly just for information gathering, so that the counter-terrorists can get an idea if there are members of the terrorist team coming towards Site A. The timer in this round is almost over, so let's go ahead and restart and head towards mid. So mid, you go the opposite direction from Site A, and you take a right here. Fastest path in order to have line of sight on A is right here. So this is where the choke point is going to be. Terrorists will arrive right here. It takes about 7 seconds for counter-terrorists to have line of sight on mid, and about 11 seconds for them to clear through mid. If we take a right here, then we will be on A site. Notice that there is also block here for cover, but also since these are all crate pallets, that both counter-terrorists and terrorists, if they have control of mid, will eventually be able to crouch jump on top of this and make their way over towards the corridor between CT spawn and Site A. In terms of cover, CT has a time advantage where they can set up and get a good line of sight on mid. They can either set up for opping or long range to mid range back here, or they can take this second corridor, and then right here they can peek, and they have more of like a short range and just cover if terrorists are coming down mid. And then over on this side, this is like a warehouse that pallets and crates are stored in. So you can also connect to kind of the middle of Site B as well. So let's go ahead and restart and then take a look at Site B. So we head the same direction as if we were going towards mid, but there is an entrance on CT side, kind of like a doorway here. And immediately you come in on the side where B will be planted at. The timing for CT onto B site is about 6 seconds or 12 seconds to the choke, which is on the far side over here. This is where terrorists have to come through the door. So for CTs, they have a few options here for cover. Again, these will be waist-high boxes, but they can be back here. They can cover here, but they have to kind of rotate to see mid, so it's a little bit less cover to get to mid. They also can take cover over on this side, which gives them a viewpoint on both of these two entrances from mid or from their spawn, but you lose cover if you try and cover choke. And then if you're attacking from the terrorist side, you can try and smoke and make your way to the right to get cover here and peek for vision on the end of the corridor on counter terrorists, or you can smoke and try and make your way over to this like little back alley over here. One interesting thing about the warehouse is that there is a second-story loft area. I haven't put any ladders in the map yet, but the ladder is intended to be right here, so either side can climb up and get to the second story. There is intentionally going to be no cover up there because it offers a height advantage, but it's good for defending for both CT spawn and T choke. If we go this direction, we go towards mid. We kind of explored this area before. So now let's jump over onto terrorists and explore their half of the map. Go ahead and restart and switch over teams. So knife out again. So we're starting on the back of the pier here, and if we go towards, we'll start with B site this time. B site, you arrive at the choke at the warehouse at around 9 seconds to peek, and if you run through, it takes about 11 seconds to get to closest cover right about here. So I intentionally designed this choke so that you are these boxes on the sides prevent terrorists from being able to peek corridor all the way to CT doorway until they actually like peek around the corner here. And it's true on the other side as well, that there's a very limited range of vision that you get. You do get a decent shot at mid, but if you want to see like far down corridor, you have to peek the choke. So it forces the terrorists to actually expose themselves if they want to take this choke. Let's go ahead and restart and show what the mid choke looks like. So fastest path, you start off going towards B, but instead of breaking off towards the warehouse, you go towards mid. And the timing to peak mid is about 10 seconds or 13 seconds to clear this first corner towards B site. So all three chokes have been timed so that CTs have a very good advantage for line of sight, but not as dominant a advantage for trying to push the choke aggressively. One interesting feature that I put for terrorists on this side of the choke is these are going to be waist-high boxes that the terrorist side can jump onto and kind of have a second-story peak where it's at the same angle as the choke. So I feel like it gives a slight advantage for information, and also just the fact that terrorists do have to push through chokes, which is kind of hard when you're on the attacking team. So I decided to give just a little extra advantage here for mid choke. It's in the same line of sight, so if you're on the CT side, you can kind of cover both, and it shouldn't be that big a deal. But I thought it kind of led to an interesting path that terrorists can take. Let's restart one more time and go towards Site A. So this time we'll take left path. These are a couple other boats in the harbor. So we're coming up on A choke, and here's where we would round the corner at 10 seconds. and it's about 12 seconds to get to around the corner in either this cover or the other cover here. So if we go back to just before the choke, earlier there was a spot over on a bomb site that CTs could peek and see if there were terrorists coming. The timing is such that if terrorists all rush Site A, they should be able to clear past this barrier before a CT can get set up. So there is information gathering for CT, but if terrorists are organized, they can actually clear past this barrier before any useful information is gathered. General pathing. In the original layout, I didn't have a lot of flexibility for the terrorist side. So one of the things that I've done is made it so that terrorists can rotate to any of the choke points without giving away too much information. So if you're coming from terrorist spawn, let's say you go towards B, but then you decide that you're, so let's say you can come around the right side of B choke here, but then you decide you want to rotate over, and you don't want to have to cross in front of the choke, so you can come around, and this will get you to the mid choke, or you can take this little back alley here, and now you're over at the A choke. And the same is true on the CT side, since they have the long corridor that connects around the back. Also, terrorists can, of course, just cross over any of the chokes that they want to, but I thought it would be a good idea to give them this cover in order to move around and reposition if they decided that they didn't like which side they were attacking on. One final thing that's worth noting is the distance and time it takes to get between the two sites. So if we go from Site A and we run through mid on shortest path over to Site B, we'll go this direction. It takes 12 seconds to actually get from site to site, and with the bomb timer at 40 seconds and defuse at 10 or 5, depending on if you have the defusal kit or not, this should be enough time for a retake of either of the sites. So yeah, this is the original Greybox for this Pier map that I've been working on. If you have any comments, go ahead and leave them in the comments section below the video. And thanks for watching.